So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with blog posts. Because, let's see, we had a recent post on the blog where some guy just started going off on us, and I replied to him. So he started out by saying, I would like to know how and why atheists can knowledgeably ignore the laws of physics when considering such things as creation. And you have to understand that I'm going to read this interspersed with my replies, but this is one giant block paragraph. So I said, it's interesting that you would say that because it turns out that physicists tend to be atheists far more than most people. According to fairly recent surveys, while around 85% of people in the world believe in some kind of God, somewhere around 60% of practicing physical scientists have doubts about the existence of God. And among members of the National Academy of Sciences, one of the most elite groups of scientists in the world, only about 7% of them are believers. By the way, this blog is at atheistexperience.blogspot.com, so if you're into that sort of thing, you can read along with me. Let's see. So it seems, I said, that the more advanced a person is in scientific disciplines, the less likely they are to believe in God. Maybe you should take up your question with some of them. Then the emailer goes on to say, all the laws of physics prove that nothing can come from nothing. So how did this universe come into existence if not from nothing? Where did that original something, most often referred to as matter or some other form, come from? I wrote, Big Bang Theory doesn't attempt to address this question. The universe came to its present state around, well, I said 14.5 billion years ago in the post, but then I was corrected by our great commenters, and it's actually 13.7 billion years ago. I always get those numbers mixed up. Before that, everything in the universe was compressed into a small enough state that known laws of physics can't be applied properly. Therefore, the Big Bang is not an assertion that anything came from nothing, could have always existed, could have been generated out of matter from a meta-universe, could have spontaneously come into existence through a matter-antimatter reaction. The responsible perspective is to accept that we don't know, and we won't know until a new way to collect evidence is worked out. You, on the other hand, seem to believe that you do know, and your belief is that the universe was actually created from nothing by a being who either always existed or, in turn, came into existence from nothing itself. I think it's remarkable that you don't see the irony in that position. I'll break up the letter and see if my co-host has anything to input. Or I won't?
No.
Okay. Let's see. He goes on to say, more importantly, I'd like you to address cosmological singularity, which has been accepted by most, if not all, physicists, concluding that there is and always has been a God. I said, I don't know where you're getting your information from, although my guess would be that it's from a certain part of your body. As I've already pointed out, you can get actual information from scientists about how much they believe in God, and it's considerably less than the general public. Besides which, even scientists who do believe in God would very rarely claim that this belief is in some way scientifically proven. Most of them hold to some form of Stephen Jay Gould's idea of non-overlapping magisteria, claiming that faith in God and scientific evidence should be held as dealing with separate domains. Almost no formal papers have ever been published in mainstream peer-reviewed scientific journals addressing the question of any God's existence, and those that have slipped through are generally not cited as relevant by any other scientific works. This is so widely acknowledged that creationists routinely claim that the scientific establishment is involved in a massive conspiracy against their work. This is, of course, baseless paranoia, since the reason their work doesn't get published is that it's a load of poorly supported pseudoscientific quackery. The writer goes on to say, therefore disproving the core of atheist beliefs. In such a society today that is so scientifically based, it is ignorant to ignore such things as cosmological singularity, as well as other laws of physics, including Einstein's relativity, that's with an I-E, and quantum mechanics, which even led Einstein to believe in the existence of God. I said, somebody's been lying to you, dude. And then I quoted, it was, of course, a lie what you read about my religious convictions, a lie which is being systematically repeated. I do not believe in a personal God, and I have never denied this, but have expressed it clearly. If something is in me which can be called religious, then it is the unbounded admiration for the structure of the world so far as our science can reveal it. That's Albert Einstein in a letter from March 24th, 1954. Then he writes, thank you for your time, though you'll be wasting your efforts trying to disprove the laws of the universe to justify your living in denial. And I said, thanks for the vote of confidence, ta-ta. Now, whenever I write an email like this, I always am waiting for the other shoe to drop because sometimes I wind up being roped for several days into a long, annoying conversation until I just decide that the person is just going around circles with me, at which point I just stop answering. So I was expecting a detailed rebuttal of that, and instead I got this. LOL, you actually wasted your time to reply to me? Ha 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 ha! Exclamation point, 1. Thank you so much for making my day. Ha ha ha, thank you. Wow, you really would waste your time like this, wouldn't you? Ha ha ha, I'm glad to know that you care enough about your public to reply to this. Ha ha ha, you are a fool. By the way, my email contained a virus. Have a wonderful life, and then die. I should note, as somebody who's somewhat savvy about computer science, having a master's degree in the subject, you do need to have some sort of attachment in order for a virus to work, and there wasn't one. I heard you can actually embed a virus in a picture, but there are no pictures either. Somebody in the comments wrote in, below is a reproduction of a text attachment sent along with the mail. This is meant to be a deadly virus, but I didn't have the technology to write it. So please delete all your important data from your hard drive manually and send this copy of this email to 50 of your friends. Thank you for your cooperation. This virus works on the honor system. I love our commenters.